Hi, I'm Tiffany. Welcome to Towering TBR. If you've been on BookTube for even a few minutes, you've probably heard of Becky Chambers. She is an amazing science fiction author who writes solarpunk. Solarpunk is kind of the opposite of dystopian. It talks about futures that are hopeful and sustainable. When it feels like we're living currently in a dystopia, sometimes all you need is just some light, cozy sci-fi. And if you don't know where to start, or you don't know where to go next, this video is for you. I have read all of Becky Chambers' 9 works, and I'm here to talk to you about them and help you pick what to pick up next. There are 3 really good places to start, and where I would recommend you start is based on what type of science fiction story you want. She writes philosophical books, speculative books, and adventurous books. If you want something light, something cozy, pondering what it means to be human, maybe you're a bit intimidated by sci-fi and don't want a whole lot of new stuff, then I'd recommend you start with A Psalm for the Wild-Built. This is her novella focused on this planet, and robots have become sentient and decided they no longer want to work for humans any longer, and so they go off into the woods and have this mass exodus from humanity. And several centuries later, a robot emerges from the forest and meets our protagonist, Dex, and is seeking, what do humans need? What can I do to help humanity? And I really suggest reading both A Psalm for the Wild-Built and its sequel, A Prayer for the Crown-Shy, together because the story continues on from there. In the second book, they journey around together, trying to help people and figure out what it means to be alive and what it means to be human. An excellent cozy book. If, on the other hand, you are more comfortable with sci-fi and you want something speculative, something exploring planets and trying to figure out where humanity might expand in the universe next, then I would recommend To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers. Obviously, it's by Becky Chambers. All of these are. So this is a novella focused on 4 astronauts, and they are exploring 3 planets and a moon. Typically in sci-fi, when exploring planets for humanity to expand, they have to talk about terraforming, changing the planet to make it a sustainable habitat for humanity. And in this book, she talks about somaforming, a creative thing she thought of herself, where instead of changing the planet to be livable for people, she implements like evolutionary changes to humanity so that they can withstand the pressures of these different places. It's a really cool concept. It's very easy to read. Even though I said it's the most hard sci-fi, it's very accessible still and quite a lot of fun. The third place, if you want an adventurous found family with excellent world building, I would suggest her first novel, A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. This focuses on the Wayfarer crew. They are a mixed human and alien crew, and their job is to punch wormholes in space to create shortcuts for travel. And so this is sort of like a long road trip. As they're going out to this territory to punch a hole in space, they kind of encounter quite a few things along the way. I don't want to spoil it because I think the journey is so much fun. But if you're like me, when this book is over, you will be terribly sad and missing all of these characters because they're just so likable and warm, and there's so much world building about the different aliens and how their cultures differ from humanity, and can't suggest it enough. After you've gone from one of the starting ones, I would say if you enjoyed A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, I would suggest picking up the next 3 novels. They are not following the same characters, but are in the same universe with a few overlapping characters. The second one is called A Closed and Common Orbit. This focuses on AI and clones. The third is Record for a Spaceborn Few. This focuses specifically on humanity and when they needed to leave Earth and what it was like living on a generation ship. And the fourth book is The Galaxy and the Ground Within, and this talks about a bunch of aliens who basically kind of get stuck at this planet for refueling, basically a truck stop. They get in a situation where they have to work together, and I absolutely love it. You don't have to read them in order, but I would definitely recommend that you do because she does not rehash anything that you've learned in earlier books. I really want to underscore that the world building is one of the very best things that she does. I absolutely love it and am bummed we're not getting any more books in the Wayfarer world because I want to learn more about the aliens. Okay, so if you have read A Psalm for the Wild Built and A Prayer for the Crown Shy, To Be Taught If Fortunate, and all the Wayfarers books, then there are 2 more works that you can check out from Becky Chambers. The first is a short story in this compilation of science fiction short stories called Infinite Stars, Dark Frontiers. This has Becky Chambers' story, A Good Heretic, which is a 21-page short story focused on the Cyanat alien race, and we follow briefly a kind of a backstory of a character we briefly meet in A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. We learn more about the religion and culture that Cyanats have, and I found it incredibly illuminating and just like extra world building to explore this world even more. Lastly, Becky Chambers collaborated with 3 other science fiction authors to create a sort of a podcast or serial audiobook, although it has been put into a Kindle book now if you want to read that way. So she collaborated with River Solomon, S.L. Huang, and Yuha Lee. And while I haven't read them any of their other works, I think that this is really good. This is a political science fiction story and is much more fast-paced than Becky Chambers' other stuff, but it's still really good. And I'll share part of my review. The story is a political science fiction focused on a sniper called Asala, who is called upon to look for a missing refugee ship. She is accompanied by the leader's adult non-binary offspring called Nico. The solar system is in decline, with many planets fighting over resources. As they look for this missing ship, they realize that there is much more going on than they initially realized. While this is a great story on the surface, there are also important messages about refugee crises, climate change, sexual and gender identity, and racial discrimination layered well through this book. No matter which book you choose, you're going to get a story with rich characters, excellent world building, and a dose of hope for the future. I'm excited. Which one are you going to start with first? Let me know in the comments. I am so envious of anyone who still has Becky Chambers books left to read. I am sitting here not so patiently waiting for her to release her next book, which we don't have any information for yet. I hope you enjoy Becky Chambers as much as I do. Let's have a chat in the comments down below. Thank you so much for joining. Bye.